opening statement from head coach Brent, and we'll take questions.
This weekend.
All right, good to see everybody. Just really, I want to start the same thing off by saying I'm really thinking about Coach Clark, his family, the UCF football program, just knowing how football teams and programs and coaching staffs are built. I just want our sincere condolences go out to all of them. I can't imagine what they're all going through and just how hard that is on everybody involved. So Arizona football, sending our thoughts and prayers to everybody there at UCF and obviously Coach Clark's family. And it's been a busy week, transitioning to just the bye week and kind of everything that was, and there was a lot going on. But I think we really attacked it. I think our players did a fantastic job, as did our coaches. Obviously, there was a lot of practice and a lot of work that had to get done, but then there was also, recruiting and all the things that come with that, and then us continuing to work hard to kind of build our brand and build our program. And I know a lot of you guys saw the collaboration with Phoenix Raceway, and just what an awesome experience that was. I think when you look through the lens of just the business of college football now, how do we continue to build and push the brand of Arizona football? And we felt like Redline was just such a simple thing, kind of in alignment with race cars, right? Like you're always talking about redlining a race car. And so I got a chance to redline a race car. I'll be honest with you, I was like a little bit nervous at first. I'm looking out because you're standing there and those cars are going by crazy fast, right? And then you go through the training and there's the people there, at the Phoenix Raceway were just amazing to me and to us, and I was just so appreciative of the collaboration and I think, but then you got to get in the car, and then you're in that thing, and it's I don't know the last time any of you guys drove a stick shift. Anyone? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while, right? So same thing for me. So that was an adventure, but I was just really appreciate Anachel and Carrie Cecil, and then also the people up there at Phoenix Raceway. It was a lot of fun, and I think it was an opportunity for us to continue to talk about redlining in a different way, but also to engage our fans during the bye week. And so, everything that we're doing here at Arizona is we're trying to build a program that is successful and sustainable over time. And how do we find creative ways in the new world of college football to do that? And I thought that was a really great step, and it was supported obviously by Desiree and her administration. And so we were excited to be there with those people. But busy week, obviously a huge week right now, and we're excited to get going. We got a first taste of practice last night, coming back off the bye, and the players have done a great job getting ready to go. So what do you got for me? Come on.
Thank you, Coach. Start with Justin and then David.
So how was it getting out on the road and doing some recruiting?
Are we talking about the race car? No?
Did you drive to any of these locations in the race car?
That would have been super sexy if we could get a race car branded with Redline. I would drive the hell out of that vehicle. All right, that would be awesome. No, it was great. It was great to get on the road. Obviously, the rules now are so different for the head coach in terms of the time when we're allowed to get out on the road recruiting. And so that makes it hard. As an assistant coach, that was something that I loved doing. I loved going to the high schools. I loved watching the players practice. I loved meeting their teachers. I loved, watching them compete on Friday nights, going in the home with the family and all that stuff. But as a head coach, those windows are really limited now with the way the calendar works with the NCAA. So it's a much different experience for me. So when it is, a lot of the schools that we went to are places that I've known those head coaches or those assistant coaches who are now head coaches, I've known for 15, 20 plus years. And so it was great to get out and to see high school coaches and to see some good high school football.
And then this week we have the availability report coming out for the first time with Arizona. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think it puts everybody on the same page. I think there's some consistency in college football with what the availability report is going to be. I think we've been moving that way. I know that's something that the media has been asking for years. And so I think it takes a lot of pressure off of you guys and us, because I just feel like whenever there is an injury, it just becomes too much of the narrative, when really you're just trying to get your team ready to play with who is available for that game. So now we have a streamlined process of this is the availability report, and these are the guys that we think are going to go, and these are the guys that are doubtful, and we'll, obviously you guys will get the first one on Wednesday night. So I'm excited about it.
David and then Mike.
Brent, with the new NASCAR relationship, are you a fan? Do you watch it? Do you have a driver that you like or liked?
So Kurt Busch is my guy because he's an Arizona dude, right? He was here for a couple semesters. He came by. He's been by a couple times to spend a little bit of time with us, and he's a really great person. A lot of fun to talk to. the biggest fan on our staff is Josh Oglesby, which he asked me as soon as I got in the building on Sunday morning. He was in my office. He wanted to know all about it. I think for Josh, we might have to build a bigger car if we're going to get him behind the wheel. Just those cars are not made for offensive linemen. But Josh is the one, on Sunday, we're in the middle of game plan or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, did you hear how the NASCAR race finished today?" And I'm like, "Whoa, I'm just trying to get a first down, buddy." But he's such a fan. So I enjoy that part of Josh, and he's actually kind of pushing me into definitely being more interested. And now with this new collaboration and this relationship, it's obviously going to be something that I care more about, right? So I'm excited about it.
And obviously Iowa State, this is a new relationship, haven't played them since 1968. What have you seen about the way they built that program over the course of maybe the last 10 years where they are so consistently right there?
That is a great question. I have incredible respect for Coach Campbell and that staff there. I think that's one of those deals where he took over a program that had been up and down, and he's made it a consistent, sustainable winner, something that we talk about wanting to do here at the University of Arizona. And so I just have an incredible amount of respect for him and his staff and how they've built it, and it's been incredibly impressive to watch. And I've watched it over the whole tenure of him there, and even when Coach Campbell and I had not connected before I got here, but we'd been kind of trying to. And when we played Toledo in fall of 23, the whole pregame conversation with Coach Campbell there, we talked about Coach Campbell, right? And it was really an interesting just how much he respected Coach Campbell and what their experience was like. And so he's a universally respected head football coach. He's a really good guy, and he's built a hell of a football program.
Michael and Damien.
So you guys are obviously on a roll heading into the bye. Do you feel like it came at a good time nonetheless in terms of resets right before Big 12 play, maybe getting some banged up guys healthier? Or would you rather have just kind of continued on that roll because you're playing so well?
No, I think the beautiful thing about scheduling is that you don't really get to have a say in scheduling. So you know what I mean. So you just have to deal with with whatever it is. But I think the good news is that we played some good football leading up to it. It did give us a chance to do a little bit of self scout and dive back into some fundamental stuff and work on some situational football and also get ready for the upcoming opponent, which is obviously one of the best teams in our conference. It's on the road in a tough environment. Like, there's so many things that come with this game. So it gave us a chance to talk about all those things. It is I think unique where you have like both teams coming off a bye. I don't know that I've ever had that in my career. So obviously it's a really important week of work for us because we know that they'll be ready to go.
Damien and then Brian.
Brent, let's go back to NASCAR. So what kind of training did you have to go through?
Yeah, so there was a video, and then my man, the guy who's in charge of the on-track raceway, Nick, he was giving me the coaching points because I want to make sure I was coached up because I watched the video and I was like, wow, that's a lot of information in 40 minutes. But it was really fun experience. Everyone was so professional and everyone was so fun. We had Wilbur out there. I don't know if you saw the pictures, but it was just a really neat collaboration with the Phoenix Raceway, and the car was fast, man. It was cool. It was really cool.
Brian and Troy.
Just from scouting Iowa State and film and all that, it seems like they go super heavy on the tight ends by design and all that. How is that so different from everyone else that you faced to this point?
Well, in some ways it's not completely, but I think you asked me the question last time when we were getting ready to play Kansas State. You said they had 9 tight ends on their roster. You know what I mean? So that way, I think the way they're built gives them a chance. When people play with a lot of tight ends like that, it adds gaps, it messes with your fits. There's a physicality that comes with it, which obviously they want to play that way. So I think the beauty of what they've done is that they continue to have a philosophy of how they want to play, and then they recruit to it. And the results have been obviously extremely positive. And so they do a hell of a job with it. And those guys are good blockers and they're complete tight ends, which is one of those positions I think everybody in college football consistently, I don't know if struggles is the right word, but is challenged trying to find those positions because lots of times they're either kind of like a in-between body between like a wide out and an O lineman or wide out and a tight end. So you're like, okay, this is going to be a developmental process for this kid to get there. Or they're like big and you're kind of trying to slim them down a little bit. So there's And then by the time you get them good, now you're having transfer portal conversations and all that stuff. So it is a challenging position to find out there. Obviously, they've done a great job of it.
Troy and then Jason.
Kind of going into the bye week during that Monday press conference, you were asked about the special teams unit and just the evaluation process there. You said it was a big week to learn what you have for that group, correct some things. How do you feel that they handled this week, and how do you see that group potentially improving?
No, I think we had a great week in the kicking game, and it had to be a huge focus for us. I felt like some of those things, when you look at it, the physical error, dropping a punt, missing a kick, right? Like those things I think are a little bit easier to fix, right? Just with some reps and some consistency. But I think for us as a overall group, I think that just the investment with Coach Niver and the special teams and how much time and effort we've been putting into all 4 phases there has been really valuable for us.
Jason and then Justin.
2 questions.
All right, here we go.
With Rhino, how important was this bye week? He's been kind of the step slow. You mentioned before, kind of getting back into things. How important was the bye week for a guy like him?
It was. I think that part was good for a handful of those guys that have been, coming back from injury or got injured in training camp, and just helping them get more reps, more full speed reps, just like the conditioning level of it, just playing more football simply. And so I think it was valuable for him.
And then what really jumps out on the film when you watch Iowa State?
I think they're really, defensively, I think they're really good at attacking the football. They do a hell of a job that way. Just what they do schematically, and then, just like being hyper aware of the ball. And so, going in this game, like it always is, but they just do a hell of a job of attacking the ball.
Justin and then David.
What stands out to you about how Chase Kennedy has evolved into his new role in the defense?
I think Chase, if you come watch his practice, Chase is one of those guys. It always has really good energy, and so that part of it has been fun to see him continue his developmental process and his maturing process since he got here a year ago, to where you are seeing him consistently embrace his role and attack it. And I think that was something for him where, sometimes guys have an idea in their head like, oh, I'm only a rush end and I only just do this. And actually, your chance to get on the field more might be doing something else, right? And his willingness to adjust and attack that new role and really, excel at it is what we're excited about. And I think he's going to continue to improve. I think there's more there for Chase.
A player like him, how does that match up with Iowa State's tight ends and just kind of what they do on the offensive side of the ball?
That's a huge question for one player. Like defensively, we're going to have to have 11 playing good defense, not just Chase. You know what I mean? We are going to. We're going to need massive population at the football. We're going to have great eye discipline. We're going to have to be really, really sound tacklers. That's not. Chase. Really, the best thing Chase can do is play to the absolute standard of red line every single play in this game, doing his job.
David and then John.
Brent, obviously Danny's got this defense playing at a high level energy-wise, but what do you like about the way he and the players have managed some of the groupings that they put out there at times for linebackers, for defensive linemen, and how they've been able to adjust to those instances?
I think as you go throughout a season, I think there's always the tendency for human nature to kick in, right? And, are guys willing to accept their role to be part of something that is collectively better than themselves? And can they embrace that? Really attack it. And I think those players have done that, right? Just trying to get the right pieces on the field to attack the situation or the personnel or whatever that your opponent is presenting. And so I think Danny's done a great job of that, as has the rest of the defensive staff. But the players have done a great job of embracing that and understanding that when they are on the field, the standard is the red line. The standard is 100, and that's it. And it needs to show up, or else we're going to put somebody else out there. And I think the players have done a good job of embracing that.
And you've talked obviously about the populations of football and all of that, but you've had some really great open field tackles from different guys throughout this defense. What have been the key elements of maybe improving in that area where a guy like Gavin Hunter can go out there and corral a guy one-on-one, or Genesis and those guys who've seen make those tackles?
No, I agree. I think that, I always think that outside of hitting a baseball, one of the hardest things to do in sports is to tackle somebody one-on-one in space. And I think the defensive staff has done a great job of that. Now we're 3 games in. We got a lot more football left to play. And so, ask me in a couple of weeks how I feel about our open field tackling, right? But I do think we're off to a good start. And now, can it improve? Can we get better at it? Can we actually continue to elevate and accelerate our process towards being collectively great tacklers. And that's what we're trying to do.
Jenna and then Michael.
First road trip for you guys this year, it's a rank component, first time going to Ames. What do you think about the atmosphere there and maybe the message to the team as it's a different mindset?
Well, I think the biggest thing, anytime you go on the road is like, do we handle the road trip like a pro? Do we handle it like guys that understand why we're getting on the plane, exactly what we're going to do? I think I've said this ad nauseum in here, every stadium on the road in this conference is a monster. Like every home game or every road game that we play is sold out everywhere. The crowd is all over your ass the moment you get off the bus. Like, it's just part of playing in this conference, right? So we expect that. We know it's going to be a rowdy crowd. It's a 6 o'clock game. We know how passionate they are about their football there, and they've got a really good football team, right? So really for us, it's how much can we lock into handling every piece of our process with the right mindset, with the right discipline as we lead up to getting ready for game time.
Michael.
2 questions.
Man, y'all wanted 2 questions, man. Come on.
I could go 3 or 4 if you want.
And we just like every guy gets 5 minutes. That's just we're gonna go right down the road.
Okay, so Rocco Becht is a quarterback who has a lot of experience. Doesn't have overwhelming physical traits, but seems to have a lot of moxie.
Stud,
out there. So what do you see when you look at
Yeah, I think that's like one of those things. I think you've seen when guys have a chance to play a lot of football, you start to see those reps stack, those reps accrue, right? And there's a kind of a acceleration or compounding of those reps as they play. And you can see him playing with just extreme confidence because he's effective in everything they ask him to do, right? That's what that part of it is. I think for any player, in our program or somewhere else, like the idea of actually staying at one place and investing in yourself in the process of development so that you can be a good player, like he's a great example of that. And that part of it, I think, we're losing that sometimes a little bit with the portal and just kind of the chaos of it and I'm not playing here, so the first thing I need to do is leave and go play somewhere else. Well, there's no guarantees when you get to this other place that it's going to go well either, right? And in the process, you lose this really critical time of development because you're starting over. It's almost, new scheme, new teammates, new location, new academics, new coaches. Oops, sorry. So all that stuff. So he is a really good player, and I got a ton of respect for him because he stayed the course.
Sure. And then regarding your defense, was there a point during the summer workouts or maybe during training camp where you sensed that, hey, this group, something's happening here, something special might be going on?
I think there was lots of moments that way. And I think Coach Daggy would tell you the same thing. Where all of a sudden, where the offense would have trouble moving the ball, or we would have, and there was a little bit of that tidal wave of enthusiasm. I remember we had a night practice in the indoor, and the defense was just on fire, and just the emotion of that night, and even earlier in that practice, we had just this incredibly physical 9-on-7 drill, and then later on that transpired to this really high level, just high energy performance by the defense, and I think so. That was when I was watching it. This group of guys is excited to play. The good news is we went over time. The offense at times did the same thing to the defense, right? Just having done this a long time, if it's too one-sided, you probably got a problem. You know what I mean? So you need to trade punches in the practice environment. But I did see that during training camp from our defense.
We'll finish up with Justin.
So there's a lot of talk about Iowa State's tight ends, but your group, what have you seen out of those guys, and how do you think they've responded since losing Tyler Powell?
I think they've done a great job. I think Sam Olsen has been one of those guys that's just been a consistent, tough kid, has made plays for us, at the last place and at this place. And I'm excited to see him continue on this journey, with us. It's great having Kean back. I think he's done a really good job, getting back in the mix. He was nicked up a little bit early in the season, but it's good to see him starting to get his mojo back. And then Cam has been a really, really pleasant surprise. I feel like Cam has made a significant, increase or has shown some real development in the physicality of playing the position, which is just so important. So it's fun. And then we've also, mixed in, Tyler Mustaine and also, Kate Luke, Red, it's there's been a handful of guys that have contributed in that space, but I think they're doing a good job, and I think Coach Miller is a really good football coach. I think he's super technical, and I think those guys have made a lot of improvement.
And I know you're focused on what you're doing, but do you pay attention to the NFL guys? Like T-Mac and Bill and what those guys are doing?
I normally get updates from either my wife or my son or somebody on the staff, but obviously we're excited for those guys. And normally when I catch any glimpse of NFL football, I'm hoping to find something that I can teach the players off of. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be like, pull this video clip or pull that one to try and teach them something. Like, here are the best guys in the world, either doing it exactly right or doing it exactly wrong. So just trying to show guys stuff like that. But I saw the highlight of T-Mac's catch yesterday. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, no one that was been around here was surprised by like his ability to play the ball off his feet. And then we're all just really excited for Bill. So it's been fun. It's been fun watching those guys.